Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Al Young, and we are here with the brilliant Jack Rowberry. So welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Jack, could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah, of course. My name's Jack Rowberry. I am a singer-songwriter of the Scottish slash Americana genre, and and yeah, enjoying what I do.
Cool, cool. Let's dive into some questions. As a kid, what were you listening to?
Good question. Well, as a young kid, I was introduced to music by my sister. I had a very my whole family, my mum and my dad were music fans. But I had a 5-year-old, 5 years older sister than me. There's a 5-year gap, and it was sort of mid 90s. So you had everything, frankly, everything great at that point in life, and I was introduced to a lot. And one of the bands in particular that I was introduced to was Ocean Colour Scene at a young age. And do you remember the song, the Riverboat song that was on TFI Friday with Chris Evans? As they had it as their theme tune. It was
Yeah.
that song in particular. My sister brought home a cassette tape. That's how old I am. A cassette tape, um, and the Riverboat song was the first track on that. So I sat and studied that song for a long time. I was blown away. Whilst the rest of the world's away into Oasis and everything like that, I was into this particular band and song. And fast forward a little bit, there was a guitar bought at a jumble sale for a fiver, and I picked away at this song and learned the main guitar riff for this song. And I don't think I listened to much else for quite a few months until I could play this riff. And and that's what kicked me off on guitar, kicked me off on being interested in learning different types of music and different ways of playing. And at that point, I wasn't a guitarist; I could just play that only. And but it was enough to spark my interest, and that's then led to the rest of my career. And I've been lucky enough to support Ocean Colour Scene a few times in my later career, which is a mad circle of events. But that's where we ended up. And so yeah, so I essentially listened to whatever my sister was listening to. Is the answer to your question?
Yeah, that's usually the case with, especially with older siblings, where
Mm.
they've got sort of like more of a mature, a bit more mature, sort of like music, sort of like taste. Like they've got much older, older bands, if you know what I mean.
Aye, aye. I know exactly what you mean, and that was it really. But I'm incredibly lucky that my sister Elaine had phenomenal music taste, in my opinion, and so did mum and dad. My mum was into glam rock and anything Rod Stewart, anything like the Sweet and all that stuff. My dad was into heavier stuff, still rock, but probably more like Motorhead and things like that. So complete full circle of everything, which is
Yeah,
I think a great musical education. I'm very thankful for it.
yeah, yeah. You can't go wrong with like having sort of like fingers in different genres of music to actually to take inspiration from.
100%. Yeah, I'm still like that today. That I couldn't pigeonhole myself with a favorite genre of music. If someone said to me, "What's your favorite style?" That changes every day. I was
Yeah,
I was just in the car on the way back home to come here for this, and I was listening to 90s hip hop, which has got nothing to do with guitars really, but it's whatever the mood.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
on.
It's like yeah. Over I would say over the last 40 years for me anyway. It all depends on what mood you're in, to what actually you want to listen to.
Mm. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So, yeah. Um, you did say that yeah, your sister got you sort of like into listening to music? Was there any other influences who actually got you into music, or was it after your sister got you into music? Was it sort of like a journey of self discovery?
Oh, that's a good question as well. Yeah, I think you're right. A journey of self discovery is probably quite accurate, but I would be lying if I said I did it on my own or anything like that. I was lucky enough again to be surrounded with people the same age as me that were into music. So a lot of my friends and things like that. I had I also played the trombone at a young age for a while, and so I was surrounded by other people that played the trumpet and clarinets and drums and violin and just everything really. And I was in a big band for a while, playing playing the trombone and that, and that was a hell of an education because that's what taught me to read and write music. So that probably was the foundation blocks of being able to understand the language of music. I've always, this is my personal view, but I've always thought that music, being able to read and write music is the equivalent of learning another language like Spanish or something like that, because you've got to be able to read, write and perform it. And if you don't do it for a while, you get rusty. So you've got to keep practicing. And it's the same thing for me. So I treat it as another language. And probably the trombone was the first thing it taught me how to string musical sentences together and properly write and properly listen and properly understand the musical structure going on there, which I believe was the building blocks to me then being able to put things together in my head and say, I'm going to write a song. That's whenever that happened in life. In fact, I can tell you when that happened in life. My best friend Callum, we used to when about high school age, whatever, it's a long time ago, but whatever age that was, we used to get together once or twice a week and sit with the guitars, because at this point I was able to play guitar a bit more proficient than just one song. And we used to get together in my parents' garage with a little gas heater because it was freezing cold, and just sit and strum songs all night. And just doing that, I believe, was one of the best bits of education for music I've had. And we're just sitting playing generic covers, just whatever you would expect to hear in a pub, kind of cover songs. But we learned how to harmonize. We learned how to write different guitar parts. We learned how to play all the chords in different places. We learned how to do guitar solos over the top of what the other one was playing. We learned how to do that's what taught me lead guitar, different versions of chords, how to harmonize. And it's also where we started singing. So I will always be very, very grateful to my entire family, but my sister for getting it started, and then Callum for sort of, I guess, being a bit of a personal trainer when it comes to music and just being involved and to this day, if Callum lives in Northern Ireland now, and so we don't see each other as often as we would perhaps like, but whenever we get together and there's a couple of guitars there, we always just snap straight back into what we used to do, and I'll take the harmony here and you do that bit there, and and it's all automatic because we had that all those foundations were there. So that was a big part of my musical journey. That I think that's where I became proficient in what I do.
Cool, cool. We've got a question from Jessie581, who's all the way in Australia. She asks, what is your process of writing songs?
Hi, Jesse. It's a very good question. So my process is I work from an idea or a spark. And 9 times out of 10, I get that idea or spark when I'm not actually trying to write a song. So it's actually quite infuriating for me. I've never been able to sit down with an agenda and say, right, I want to write a song about the weather today, or a Monday morning, or Valentine's Day or whatever the subject might be. I just have an idea, and it'll be when I'm driving down the road or I'm in the shower or something like that. And because of that, I've got a phone full of little voice notes with little melodies and one-liner ideas, song title ideas, and I write from whatever spark that is. So if it's a song title that comes to mind, for example, I will rush home, get the guitar, and I'll see if anything comes to mind, because I've got lots of melodies in my head. I've got lots of chord structures in my head, and I'll just start strumming through the old black book of ideas and see if I can sort of merge any. And if sometimes you sit down and it all just comes out, and 10 minutes later you've got a song, and sometimes 10 months later you've still not finished it, but you know you've got something and it's there. So to answer your question, it's not very scientific. It's comes from a bit of a spark, one idea, and then it grows from there. It just grows arms and legs, and
Yeah.
I've just always worked that way.
Yeah. Would once you get that spark, and you get when you sort of like come to sit down and actually sort of like work on it, do you take well, trying to get it, is it, do you come up with a riff, or do you come up with a, like sort of like song melody, or like a sort of like a chord structure or bridge or something before you to actually sort of like to start off with?
Yeah, I normally keep it very simple when I at sort of minute number one of writing the song. I'll sit down with the idea that I've just had in the car on the way home, and I'll try and unpack that idea and just say, right, can I remember it, or have I lost it? But if I remember it and I've still got it in my head, I'll grab the guitar and I'll strum through some chords. It'll be very, very basic. There'll be no decoration to anything at that point, and I'll always write a very, very basic song first. So for example, if it's 4 chords that's in it, I'll just keep it to that 4 chords until I think I've got some sort of structure, and that's when I start. I almost write the basic song, and then I hit pause, I go back to the start, and I start pulling it apart. So I will, if I finish a song, or I've got half a song and I've got a rough structure, I'll then go back and say, right, that'd be a good bit for a riff. What riffs have I got in my mind, or does anything come to mind, or anything like that, really? So I'll start working through ideas for, say I want to put a guitar riff in, or I want to put a little bit of guitar decoration over it, or that chorus is going to be really big, so let's get a harmony for that. And that's when I start piecing together the other bits, I think.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Jesse. Um,
Thanks, Jesse.
right, Lisaboo, my head moderator, who's all the way in Canada, she asks, "Do you have a favorite song of your own, and why?"
Hi, sorry, I've not got my glasses on. Lisa Boo,
Lisa, yeah,
Lisa Boo, yeah. Hi, Lisa Boo. That's like picking one of your favorite children, I think. Not that I have kids, but that's probably like it for me. But you know what? I'm going to say yes, I do have a favorite song. I've got a song called "Chasing Stones." That is, it was the lead song from my last sort of singles campaign, and it's one of those ones that when I wrote the song, it was a happy song for me. It was about my dog, and chasing it. My dog used to chase stones, and rather than a tennis ball or something ordinary, and it was just one of the most enjoyable things to do. My dog is no longer with me anymore, and it's now a sad song for me, but it's not. So it's now almost a form of therapy for me when I play that song to myself. And if I'm honest, I struggle sometimes to play it live because it's quite difficult to get through. But for that reason, it will probably be my favourite song for the foreseeable future, because it means something quite It's now quite heavy for me, but it was always written with a smile on my face, if you know if that makes sense. So to answer your question, yeah, Chasing Stones, and that's why.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lisaboo.
Thank you.
So, out of all the bands that you've listened to over the years, who was sort of your main influence to say to yourself, I want to do this, I want to get up on stage, I want to perform live?
Oh, that list is probably endless, I think. But if I had a gun to my head and I had to pick one, it's probably Ocean Colour Scene, because they started it, and I became obsessed with Ocean Colour Scene. I still am, if I'm honest with you. But I won't tell you how many times I've seen them live, but it's a lot, and I've probably paid off one of their mortgages with the amount of gig tickets I bought for them. But I would probably also say, just to pick something other than Ocean Colour Scene for a while, Delimitri is probably right up there for me. I'm obsessed with their songwriting. I'm absolutely obsessed with it and the way they do it. It's they're one of the first bands that taught me how to layer things in songs. So yeah,
Cool,
Delimitri.
cool. Yeah, two really good bands there. Two really good bands.
Mm.
So, prior to doing what you're doing now, were you in any sort of like other bands prior to starting what you're doing now?
Yeah, I was in an indie band, indie rock and roll band called Pose Victorious, and we were only around for a couple of years, but we did very well in the couple of years that we were around, and it was just such a good time in my life, and I'll never forget it. And again, just such good musical fun and education, and got to work with some really influential names, which I'll never forget as well. One of them being Owen Morris, who is the producer for lots and lots of people, but probably most notably Oasis. And what a character he is, and it was just. But I'll never forget the guys in that band. We're all still friends, and everyone's doing very well. For whatever reason, the band didn't carry on, but that was a lovely time in my life.
Cool. We've got another question from Jessie581, our favourite Australian. She asks, any plans for gigs and tours?
Hi, Jessie. Am I? Did I hear you right, Jessie? You're from Australia. Is that? Did I hear that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got any gig offers in Australia, Jessie, I'm up for it. If you are, yes. To answer your question, yeah, there's lots of plans probably for next year to go out and on the road and play some songs. I've got a catalogue of about 15 songs written that I need to probably narrow down to about 5, and then sharpen them up, and then we're good to go. So yes is the answer. We'll probably kick that off with an Edinburgh show, which is my local city.
Would you be doing like a Scottish tour or doing like a full blown UK tour later down the line?
Ideally both. Yeah, I'd like to do both.
Yeah.
Obviously Scotland is on my doorstep, but I could come down your way, no problem at all. I played in Newcastle in the HMV shop not that long ago, which I know is nearer you than me.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, to answer your question, it'll be hopefully in some UK dates, and we'll get out there. Probably kicking off with Edinburgh though, and it'll be likely towards the beginning of next year, I think.
Yeah, cool. But sort of like going on down a similar route to like tour. If you had the money lined up, the financial backing, and everything is aligned in the universe for you, uh, would you sort of like tour the world?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if the if the planets align and someone else is paying for it, and or someone or somehow I've got the money to pay for it myself. Oh, 100%. I would love to play places like Australia um, yeah, places like Australia and Nashville and Dubai and places like that. I think yeah, absolutely. I'd love to get out there.
Yeah, mind you, Nashville is an iconic destination
Yeah.
for a lot of bands. For a lot of bands.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously the American music scene is something, a different level. But I mean, it would be a dream to play places like Chicago, Nashville, um, Detroit, places like that. It would be unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It will. It will. Yeah. Thank you for that, Jesse. Um, so, um, what have you been up to, especially in say the last 12 months or so?
I have been up to in the last year, just releasing releasing songs really, and writing new songs all at the same time, which is strange for me because I normally write a batch, release them, and then I'll take a wee break, and then I'll go away and write again, and it sort of the circle continues. But I've got probably more songs than I've got more songs than I can really manage at the moment, which is a great problem to have. So there is definitely a lot to come out and over the next year, but that's essentially what I've been kept busy with over this last year. So there's been single campaigns coming out for well, the songs that are all on iTunes, etc. I'm sure if anyone's interested, they'll be able to find them on there. Um, Other streaming providers are available, and it's kept me very busy, and I've been so for the last say 5 or 6 singles I've been working with a very very talented band, local band to me, and very lucky to call them friends of mine, um, and they're extremely talented people, and they've added so much dynamics to the songs that I've come into the band room with a basic song essentially, and it's grown arms and legs because these people have got more talent than I could ever hope to have. So um so working with them on those songs and then getting them out into the wild has been priority number one. But in the background, I've been writing other songs for myself. So I think the next batch of songs has sort of worked out that they're probably going to be more acoustic sounding, which was accidental, but that's probably where we're going to end up because it's just sometimes it works like that because I'm sitting writing usually on my own with an acoustic guitar, and therefore they they come out like that. So to answer your question, that's where I've been releasing songs and writing songs over the last 12 months.
Cool, cool, cool. Um, so, so are you sort of like working towards releasing an EP or an album or just purely singles?
Just purely singles, really. I think at the moment there isn't. I don't think not for an artist my size. I don't think there's appetite for albums anymore. There's just to record an album. The resources involved in that is vast, and the payoff is as in the if you release everything at once, which is what you do with an album, um, you can lead it with a couple of singles, but essentially you're saying to the world, bang, here's an album. I think that's for someone that's a bit further down the road than I am, perhaps bigger scale than I am, and it's a bigger budget thing than I've got. Just honestly speaking, I think singles at the moment, the whole. I remember when I first started in the music industry writing songs, it was all about getting a good music video. It was all about make sure you've got enough copies of CDs that you can sell to people at gigs and things like that. And that was all that. But nobody, the stats will show us that nobody, well, some people do, proper diehard music fans, like probably like you and I, listen to albums, but I certainly do. But I know the vast majority of the people that follow me don't. They listen to a customized playlist, which will have one song on it. If you're lucky, 2 or 3 songs on it from you. And that's how people digest music now. So it's for an artist of my size, it's probably not good. Probably not there yet for an album. Just cards on table. But to be honest with you, it's for another reason as well. I really enjoy the whole process of releasing a single. So it's like a new thing every couple of months when I've got a batch ready, and it's just great. And I really like that buzz, and I really like everyone find it's whenever I put a new song out and it's on say on social media or whatever, there's a bit of a buzz about it, and that's really enjoyable for me as well, and I can see that it's enjoyable for those who follow me, and that's one of the many reasons I do this. So if I could, so it just makes sense for me to sort of drip feed them to the world and work that way, I guess.
Cool. So sort of like if you get enough, if you release enough singles down the line to put a sort of like a compilation album together, would you do so?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's actually probably where we're going to end up. So I mentioned there's a whole load of songs that were recorded with the band, and the next batch of songs, so to speak, will probably still have other musicians on there, because I just love working with other musicians, and I would like to include as many as I can on there. So that'll still happen, but it's they're probably going to be a bit more stripped back sounding, and those would probably be great for either an EP or an LP further down the line. And I think they'll probably come out as singles, but then later down the line we'll pop them into one album and do something with that. I don't know what we'll do with that exactly, but that is definitely feasible. Yeah.
Cool. So is there sort of like any plans on doing merchandise such as t-shirts, caps, stuff like that?
Yeah. You've caught me on a rare night when I'm not wearing my hat. I normally wear a hat. I'm a hat guy. And so yeah, I can definitely see some trucker hats or something like that getting done. I've actually got t-shirts at the moment. I've got t-shirts available, but they're only available at gigs, which and there's only a handful left. And once they're sold out, we'll probably have a rethink about styles and things like that. I think we'll definitely get more t-shirts made, but it's probably going to be for people on my mailing list rather than for people that come to gigs and for people on the mailing list, and so it'll be something special for those people who want to follow me down that route.
Cool. I just had a thought there. Would you sort of like do 2 types of t-shirts, one purely for the gig side and one purely for the mailing list, or putting stuff up online, like such as Bandcamp?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do something like a limited edition thing. I think it's a great idea, and I'd love to do something because I've got a mailing list which I call my members club. I really should come up with a better name than that. That's probably terrible. As you can tell, I'm no marketing expert, but I have a members club which is just a mailing list, and it's a way I can chat to people, and I can engage, and they know they're speaking to me. And there's a few hundred people on that, and I'd love to do something special for those people because they've quite frankly went out their way um, to sign up to that. It's totally free, so they're not paying me any money for that or anything like that. I just I like a method of chatting to people who are genuine fans of whatever I do, and it still blows my mind that people are interested in following me in that way, and I will forever be grateful. But I want to do something extra special for people that do that. So when people sign up to the mailing list, they will they probably will get first dibs on a special T-shirt or something like that. Um, we should call it the VIP club or something like that, and they can get a VIP T-shirt or something. That would be good, and they can wear it at gigs. And then yes, we'll have another one for gigs.
Cool, cool,
But yeah, we'd like to do that.
cool. We've got a question from Jesse581 again.
Mhm.
Sticking on with the merchandise. Any plans for vinyl?
Yeah, yeah. That's probably, thanks, Jesse. That's probably it's probably a little bit further down the line, just with the so as I mentioned, we'll probably release the singles first, and then when we're collating that into an EP, that's probably when we'll pop it into a vinyl. I would rather do vinyls over CDs. I think I'm a vinyl guy myself, so yeah, definitely at some point.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of us here who are vinyl, who love vinyl, who love listening to vinyl.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, me too. I'm sitting looking at my vinyl collection over there. It's not a massive collection, but I enjoy it.
yeah. We've got a comment from Lisaboo in Canada. She just said, "I have subscribed to your mailing list."
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I'm presuming your name is Lisa. If I hope
Yeah,
I'm right. Um, thank you very much. Well, in that case, I will be emailing you soon, and we'll keep in touch. Hopefully.
cool, cool. We've got another question. Well, it's a actual full-blown question from Lisa Boo. Lisa's just said, "Is there a venue you would love to play at someday?"
Yeah, 100%. There is a venue called the Usher Hall in Edinburgh, and that was my first ever big concert that I went to was in there, and I've since been to uh, endless amounts in there, and it's my local big hall, if that makes sense. It's a beautiful venue, and I would love to play that one day. And that is officially out into the universe, Lisa. Thanks for asking that question. So we'll put that out to the universe, and that will hopefully happen one day, and we'll work towards it.
Cool, cool. There's probably another sort of like a side note to this. Have you got a favorite venue that you would love playing at?
So a venue that I love playing at already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Yes, I'm going to give a shout out to it's a small little venue in down near your way on Berwick upon Tweed. There's a little cafe there called forgive my French here, but it's a little sort of French style cafe called Repass 7, I think it is. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I went down to play there a couple of years ago, and just immediately fell in love with the place. It's just this quaint little thing, and it's just and it was full of people that love music, and most of which I'd never seen before. They'd never heard me play before, but somehow they knew the words because they were engaged enough to go away and listen to the songs before I turned up. And I was just standing there with my jaw on the floor, going, how do you all know the words to these songs? And it's been the same every time I've returned, and it's been I'm pleased to say that I've met a lot of people who are now friends from there, and other fellow musicians who have supported. And I'm going down on Friday just to have to listen to music down there, and they're a real champion for small to medium sized bands and artists and things like that as well. So there, Repass 7 in Berwick upon Tweed. Shout out to them.
Cool. Thank you for that, Lisa.
Lisa.
Got a couple of comments. Jesse says, "Cool, love vinyl." And Lisaboo said, "Love the small venues, the grassroots venues."
Well, 100%. They. I think you could ask. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I think you could ask any size of artist. You could ask Mick Jagger if he'd like to play a small venue, and I bet you the answer is yes. It's there's something so beautiful about playing a small venue, especially one that's specifically full of music fans, and they're there for music, and that's their thing. They're just golden for me as well. So yeah, agree. Hard agree.
Yeah. I love this. I love the small venues, especially when it's like you said, when it's like full of people who actually got a passion for music, who's got a passion and a love to actually sit down and actually listen to it and actually appreciate it. And because I've done like the big massive arenas and big massive festivals and stuff like that. It's just like, give me a small venue any time of the day.
Yeah, agreed. Don't get me wrong. Played a few big halls, and what a buzz that was. But it's one of the biggest gigs I think I've ever played was a gig on, and it'll be one of probably my most memorable gigs that I've done. It was a sport and Ocean Colour Scene, so it wasn't my crowd or anything like that. I can't claim that it was my audience, but it was down in Lustiglaze Beach in Newquay, down near Cornwall. And there is one staircase to this sort of hidden beach. It's quite a famous beach. If you Google it, if your listeners would want to Google it, you'll see pictures of it. It's beautiful. And there's this one rickety old staircase that comes down for miles, and that's your only way in and out. So you've got all your equipment to carry down that thing. But you are on stage looking out, and I was just lucky enough that the weather was absolutely gorgeous that day, and I was looking out to a couple of thousand people because it's an Ocean Colour Scene gig, not mine. And then sort of beyond that is just the ocean, or the Irish Sea or whatever it was, and that was just gorgeous to play at. But obviously those are few and far between. So back to reality, small venues are for the win.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, when's your sort of like next gig going to happen?
I don't actually have any gigs in the diary at the moment.
Right.
Is the answer. So just taking a small break from gigging at the moment, just to try and finish these songs off, because it's hard to do both. you know, with just schedules and things like that. So my focus is just very recently, as in last week, switched to finishing off the writing, and then it'll be into a studio, and then we'll hit the gig button again, probably beginning of next year. So no gigs in the diary at the moment. There will be some that come up, no doubt. But the best place to hear about them is if you join the mailing list, because I will always tell people on the mailing list first, no, whether it's a gig or a new release or anything like that. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. That's exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. That's how you sign up. Yeah, so on the website, jackrowberry.com, you can sign up there, and it's just me emailing back and forward, and I'll just tell you when gigs are, and I'll usually put the word out to you first on the members club. So Lisa, you will hear all about this stuff before anyone else. And then once my sort of members club have had a chance to, you know, act on whatever is being done, I'll put it out on social media, and then the rest of the world can have a shot. But that's yeah. So you'll be speaking directly to me on the members club for that kind of stuff.
Cool. Apart from the website, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, Instagram is Jack Rowberry Music, and I have only very recently started TikTok, so it's the same handle. I'm not sure I'm that great on TikTok. I'm probably more of an Instagram person. However, you get you might find some nonsense with me on TikTok if you're a TikTok person. So you feel free to join either of those. I'm also on Facebook, and that's the same handle. So it's Jack Rowberry Music for whichever handle, whichever platform you prefer.
Cool. So, guys in the chat, if you've got any more questions, please ask away. We're going to start wrapping things up in the next 5-10 minutes or so. Any advice for people who want to become a musician, whether it be for their own personal pleasure, or sort of like going down the sort of like commercial route?
Yeah. So going down the commercial route, do you mean sort of
like putting out singles and EP stuff like that, or playing gigs?
Yeah, got you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you've got to. It sounds cliche, I guess, but you've got to, if you're writing music, you've got to write music that you like first and foremost. It's got to be for you, not for someone else. And that does sound cliche, but it is vitally important, because when you step on that stage, you've got to believe every word you're singing, and you should, in theory, be able to shut your eyes and people will and sing. And you're asking people to buy into those songs. You're asking people to believe the words you're singing. And I think if you, there is artists out there that we won't mention names or anything like that, because that's not the way we do it. But there is artists out there who write songs for an agenda or something like that, because it might get played on a bank holiday Monday or something like that. And that's fine, that's cool. But I think people see through that. So in my opinion, it's being true to yourself, true to you, your purpose. So whenever us musicians and songwriters sit down and write our business model, we'll always do the same as any other business. We'll answer the question, why are we doing this? Because it certainly isn't about money or anything like that, which is a good job, because there is not much of that going about anymore. But we do it because we absolutely love it. And I can say that directly into this camera and to whoever's listening here, that I do love my songs. I do love what I do. I have tried to quit a few times, because it is tough, because of the money thing, and there's it's just really hard to survive just as an outfit, you know. and somehow you've got to get through that, and the love for it gets you through that. So that is my advice. Not that I don't know if I'm qualified to teach this, but that is my advice for anyone that might be thinking about starting songwriting or anything like that. Is it's got to be songs, you're writing songs for yourself first and foremost, and that's why people will follow you. They're not following you because of any other message. You've people buy from people, essentially. It's the old sales trick, but it's we're not really selling our music. We're asking people to follow us if they want to. There's no financial transaction these days, so we're not selling an item. We're not selling something. We are doing it because we love it, and people that love music might also love our songs for the same reasons. And in that case, that's a match made in heaven, and we'll move forward and carry on, and that's the way I see it.
Yeah. Great advice there, great advice. And Jesse says great advice. And Lisaboo says, thank you so much, Jack, for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Lisa. Thank you very much for all your questions.
Jack, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So we're going to start wrapping things up. Have you got any final words before we go?
No, not at all. I just very thankful for all the questions that's come up, and thanks very much for having me. And hopefully we'll chat again soon. And just I see that a couple of people have already joined the mailing list, members club, I should say. Thanks very much. I'll be in touch, and we'll become friends, hopefully.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Jack. It's been an absolute pleasure. And guys, if you haven't, where's it gone? There we go. If you haven't joined Jack's mailing list, which is called the Members Club, please do. This guy's absolutely brilliant. He's well worth the time to actually just even to check out. So yeah, if you haven't checked them out already, I'll put all the links down in the description. And go check them out. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. And Jack, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a total pleasure.
Oh, well, no, the pleasure's mine. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So guys, until next time, we'll catch you all later.
Thank you.